Hi, I'm Andy Hawkins. I'm the senior pastor of the Village Church, and I'm here with Sonny Torres. And Sonny is the Director of Spiritual Services here at Shell Point and also a member of our staff here at the Village Church. And we're here to talk about a very important milestone in not only in your ministry life, but also for us here at the Village Church and for Shell Point. But before we do that, I want to back up a little bit and ask you to tell us a little bit about your job, your role as Director of Spiritual Services at the Shell Point Retirement Community. So where do you spend most of your time? What kinds of things do you do?
Well, I spend most of my time in the pavilion. My position, I cover all 4 floors of the pavilion. We have rehab all the way up to the hospice unit, people that are in the memory care unit, people that are in long-term. And my job is to lift their spirits and to provide services that will encourage people that are going through spiritual distress or in areas of religious beliefs. I'm able to be helpful to all those of all different denominations, and also to in areas of meaning, purpose, hoping, coping, and their relationships to God. That is my area, because there is an importance. Shell Point stresses that wellness is a wholeness of our being, and the spiritual side of life is just as important as medical, because they all interrelate and they all affect one another.
That's exactly right. And so basically you're a chaplain to anyone who's in the pavilion. Now we're actually here to talk about a special event that's coming up on October 22nd in the evening. At 6:15 we're going to have a special worship service. It's actually a service of consecration, because it's a major milestone in your ministry life, and it really does, I think, speak to the fact that to do the things that you're doing in the pavilion, you just didn't wake up and roll out of bed and start doing them. You actually had to go through a significant process to get to this particular place, where not only are your skills and gifts recognized in the pavilion and in the church, but also by the denomination, which is the Christian and Missionary Alliance, with which we're associated. And so you've had to have some educational background. When you got started in this position, you had to finish your master's degree to get into it. What's your master's degree in, by the way, when you finish that up?
Christian ministries, and also counseling, Christian counseling.
Yeah.
But that, Andy, that was a miracle in itself, because at my age, after so many decades of not being in school and then having to go back,
Right.
and not only that, I can't even run a remote for a TV set, let alone I had to do my courses, the whole master's online, in an invisible library with professors I couldn't see. And it was amazing.
So it stretched you, not only the content, but also the process.
Yeah.
It really was stretching.
It was a miracle.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
And then after you completed that, then you went through this process called consecration, which is what the Christian and Missionary Alliance does for women in ministry. In the men's side of ministry, it's called ordination, but this is called consecration. It's essentially an equivalent kind of process. Tell us a little bit about what kinds of things you did to go through this consecration program.
Well, it was back again on doing a lot of research, a lot of reading, writing long papers, and having them approved by the chosen, professors.
Yeah, evaluators.
Evaluators.
Right? Yeah, right.
I had to come before the licensing board and have an interview for several hours, and that was a bit tense. But I think it's important, because it's such an important thing in this denomination that you're biblically sound and your doctrine is well founded, and so to me, I thought it was a really wonderful thing that that this is something required. I think
there's also this lengthy application, wasn't there, that required a whole bunch of questions and answers with respect to biblical topics and those kinds of things. Those were evaluated, and then, of course, the license, ordination, and consecration interview took place in Orlando, so you had to go up there for a couple of hours and be grilled by a bunch of men, right?
Yeah, it was a little tense.
But you survived. In fact, you prospered. You blossomed very well.
Thank you.
So you did a great job. In any event, the culmination of this process is a worship service that the district officials of the Christian and Missionary Alliance and some members of the License, Ordination, and Consecration Council will be involved in this service. It's going to take place on October 22nd in the evening right here at the Village Church at 6:15. It's our regular evening service time. And we decided to do that here rather than at a district conference so this community could be involved. And we so really hope that the folks that you run into in the pavilion, as much as they are able, both residents and staff, will find an opportunity to come and participate in that worship service as we conclude this consecration process and glorify the Lord for how He's brought you. This consecration is a recognition by this church and community, as well as the denomination, that God has called you to this particular ministry. And we're thrilled to be able to do that and are looking forward to that. I hope you are as well.
I am.
Yeah.
I just wanted to really focus on the amazing grace of God, because it has been a miracle to me to have gotten this position here at Shell Point and to be able to have such a wonderful community. I love Shell Point, so please come.
Yeah, because you have connections here at Shell Point that predate your participation as a staff member here, because your mom is here and she's going to be glowing on
Yeah.
that evening.
That's
and,
right.
So certainly you've had that kind of connection. Your husband Robert works here at Shell Point as well as a staff member.
And he'll be here too.
And he'll be here too. That's exactly right. Well, Sonny, thank you for sharing this time together. We are really looking forward to the opportunity to celebrate what God has done in bringing you through that process, and then what He'll affirm for you during this service of consecration. That's October 22nd, 6:15 in the evening, right here at the Village Church, and we invite the entire community to come and join us.